Hello, and this is Marketing Live. It is Thursday, May 12th, 2016 at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. I am your host, Amy Jorgensen. On today's live broadcast, we're talking about a hot topic, graduation. Every institution gears up for the most celebrated event in their students' lives, graduation. So let's hear from top universities and what they're doing to make their graduation stand out from the rest. Marketing Live is part of a Higher Ed Live network, offering viewers direct access to the best and brightest minds in education. Live broadcasts allow viewers to share knowledge and participate in discussions around the most important issues in the industry. Today's live viewing experience is powered by Maestro, the premier marketing tech platform for broadcasters. All episodes of Marketing Live are free and accessible in the video archives at higheredlive.com and in podcast format on iTunes. Higher Ed Live is produced by N. Stoner, a marketing and communications firm that works with education institutions on branding, strategy, web design, and more. Calling all marketers and storytellers, M. Stoner is offering a free webinar on May 25th on storytelling to recruit students. Led by CEO and co-founder Voltaire Miron, this session explores stories that resonate with prospective students and their influencers. Using an undergraduate admissions experience map as our guide, we'll review 3 examples of stories targeted specifically towards different stages in the admissions process. Registration is free, and we're tweeting out a link shortly where you can sign up. So with our topic for today, I'd like to welcome our guests. We have Nikki Sundstrom, the Director of Social Media at the University of Michigan. Welcome.
Hello, thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. And we have Skylar Frederick, the Social Media Associate at the University of Virginia. Welcome, Skylar.
Hi, everyone. Happy to be here.
We have Amanda DiRito, the Social Media and Marketing Coordinator at Utah State University. And I think she may have just gone. She was right here. We'll get her back soon and then welcome her again. We have Todd Sanders, the Director of Social Media at the University of Florida. Welcome, Todd.
Hello. Go Gators.
Go Gators. We have Ryan McGuire, the Social Media Strategist at Princeton University. Welcome, Ryan.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
And Krista Smith, the Digital Marketing and Social Media Manager at Texas A&M University. Welcome, Krista.
Howdy. Glad to be here.
That's adorable, the howdy. I love it. All right, so for all of those that are watching along, please do not hesitate to ask any questions. You're going to do that on Twitter using hashtag HigherEdLive, and I'll do my best to submit them out as they come in. So let's dive in. Let's start off with Krista. When are your graduations happening?
So we actually started graduation last night. Over the next month, Texas A&M is going to graduate 9,000 students in 15 ceremonies across the state of Texas. So graduation for us, the bulk of them will be the next 3 days, but then we have kind of one-off graduations that are scattered throughout the rest of the month. So a little busy, a little crazy.
My goodness. What about you, Nikki?
Sorry, I had to go for the unmute. We actually wrapped up our celebrations a couple of weeks ago now. We're in full summer mode here. We too have a variety of celebrations. Each of our 19 schools and colleges either offer their own or participate in the large commencement ceremony, which takes place in the Big House. We had over 6,000 students just graduate in that ceremony alone. It's a really great time.
6,000 students in one ceremony?
Correct. Yes, and then that doesn't include the ones that graduated in their individual school ceremonies. Right.
Holy cow! How long does that take?
A couple hours. It's a good time. We don't do the walk across the stage, which I think is what possibly would take the most time. They call out the individual schools and colleges, and all the students stand up in the stadium. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. All right, so coming from Princeton, what about you, Ryan?
We have not had our graduation yet, and here it's kind of like a graduation experience. It spans 3 days, which starts with the baccalaureate ceremony on Sunday, May 29th, and then we have class day on Monday, May 30th, and then the commencement ceremony on Tuesday, the 31st.
Awesome. Very cool. And how many students are you looking at having at those?
That'll be around 1,300 undergrads and 1,000 grad students.
Fantastic. And Skylar from the University of Virginia.
Hi. So we have about 6,500 or so total, including graduate students as well. Undergrad, it's a little over 4,000. Our graduations take place next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So the 20th to 22nd is valediction and final exercises weekend.
Awesome. Thank you. And what about from the University of Florida?
2 weeks ago, 2 weekends ago, and 9,001 students.
9,001?
Yeah, that's right.
It's very specific. I like that. Awesome. So what are your institution's communication goals when it comes to graduation? Let's start off with Nikki.
Oh, all right. You know, from our standpoint, it's really the perfect time of year to capture the absolute elation of being a Wolverine, to celebrate the students' success and their time here. A lot of our communications are also about that reflective state, right? Who you were when you got here and what you're now able to become, entering them into the Alumni Association and showing them just the network that they're now becoming a part of, celebrating the accomplishment. And so we all work collectively across campus to put together a multitude of different pieces, whether it be social media or video or print material. It's really a great time.
Awesome. And what about you, Krista?
So we focus a lot on sort of the excitement that's around our students. Also, you know, we want to highlight the product, right? Like these are our products that we're sending out into the world that are going to do great things and, you know, reshape the world around them. And so we really try to kind of focus on that element, as well as kind of keep with the reflective you know, scheme as well, but we're just more excited about celebrating with our students because they're, for them, this is the culmination of 4 years or 5 or 6 years if they took a victory lap, and we're just very excited for them, and we also know that excites our alumni. Our alumni base is very passionate, very engaged, and they are very welcoming and very excited to celebrate this milestone with our current students as well.
That's awesome. And what about you, Ryan, over at Princeton?
Yeah, I mean, we are all about, you know, celebrating our students, helping them tell their story. They just got through Princeton, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
So they're excited, and I mean, they deserve it. This is their time to be in the spotlight. So that's what we're thinking when we're coming up with our communications plan, and then, of course, social media is an important part of that plan.
Awesome. And Skylar?
So most of ours is celebrating and getting, you know, promoting our students to the world and saying that this is really great. So our communications actually started a few weeks ago, probably almost a month, with profiles of individual members of the class of 2016. And they come, you know, some of them are older students and non-traditional students, and there's all these different awesome members of the class. So we've been using our channels to celebrate them and to promote them to the area as well. We also really are the main channel for weather-related information. That's a really big deal and becomes some of the biggest communications that we do with our channels as well, especially if it's going to rain next weekend, and hopefully it doesn't.
Awesome. And I think there was some rain at the University of Florida, wasn't there, Todd, during that graduation?
That is correct. On Friday night we had rain and a weather delay because of lightning. So yeah, we were in the swamp instead of the O-Dome, since the O-Dome's under renovation. So part of what we did, besides the excitement and all that stuff, was just to make sure that people knew that where to go, what to do, since it's somewhat new to go to the swamp.
Very cool. So what have you all done in the past to engage with your students during graduation, and like what has worked, what hasn't worked? Let's dive back into Todd again.
What has worked? This is the second spring commencement where we gave the keys to Snapchat over to a graduate, so that was fun. Luckily, we have interns that graduate all the time, so we did that. That's cool. What didn't work this time was a Snapchat filter because we didn't pay for it, but Delta Airlines was able to get one, so that was fun.
Awesome. So do you use other, you know, other like initiatives? Because I've seen at the University of Florida, was it like UF Grad or UF?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, we got a great opportunity in the swamp to put people up on the big board, so that kind of feeds itself. They take pictures in the swamp before and around campus. Alumni Association actually had a Snapchat filter. They were smart about it, unlike us who went for the stadium at $700 for 4 hours. They went across the street at a statue where graduates always take pictures, and it was only $20. So well done, Alumni Association.
Cool. Skylar, what are you guys planning to do for graduation, and what have you seen that has worked well in the past?
Yeah, so we are doing a Snapchat filter, and we're going to pay for it. I just got the final designs yesterday, and it looks really cool. But we've actually included our tag, which is UVA grad, into the Snapchat filter to help encourage people to use the tag. So we're hoping that a lot of people are going to use that. But we will have live coverage on our Snapchat as well, in addition to all of our other channels. We're actually going to do a sort of secret rapid-fire Q&A with our valediction speaker before she speaks. So we'll have a really fun piece of content that hasn't been done before with our speaker, and she's an actress, so it'll be really great. If you watch Grey's Anatomy, that'll be really fun for us. But we do a lot of our engagement through the Facebook photo albums that we put up. And we create a Flickr album also, so that if parents email us and are asking for photos that they knew were taken, we can just send them a link and they can download the photos there.
Awesome. Are you letting the speaker know that you're going to be asking questions, or is
yeah,
it
she knows. Yeah, she knows, and she's been really, really helpful with all of that. So she's excited about it as well. She's actually doing like a whole photo session with students after her speech, so she's been really great.
That's awesome. And Ryan, what have you guys done in the past to engage with students for graduation? What has worked? What hasn't worked? What have you guys learned?
So I've learned that when it comes to engaging with students the day of graduation or commencement, being allowed or being able to be where they are is really, really helpful. That's where all of the excitement takes place. I mean, before they sit down, yeah, afterwards and during, you're gonna have access to photos of them sitting and listening to the speaker, but you want to get them hugging, you want to get them taking selfies, so being able to have access to the field or wherever your graduation ceremony takes place, I think makes a big difference and gets that engagement. So that's what I try to do.
That's smart. That's really smart. What about you, Nikki?
So this is my third spring commencement at the University of Michigan, and we really have a very rigorous strategy from start to finish that we execute. And so, as I said or alluded to earlier, it really includes every single touch point. And then we try to bring a unique element. So we've used Snapchat for a couple of years now, over 2.5, and this year our unique element was actually social printers that we brought into the university. We had them situated at a variety of smaller commencement ceremonies and then also within the big house at the stadium. And what happened is whenever anybody used the MGoGrad hashtag, which has been our standardized commencement hashtag for 4 years, it would actually cache a tangible photo that had all of our unique branding and our hashtags and things on it. And so we saw over 1,500 uses of that. We leverage our big stadium boards, one on each end of the end zone. And then this year, for the first year, we leveraged the ginormous marquee, which is along the main road that runs right next to the stadium. So we encourage, of course, friends and family to share their photos so they can be famous. We have three different paid geo filters across campus in different strategic locations, some within that were unique to inside the stadium, others that were on the main part of campus, similar to what Todd had alluded to, next to places where we know people take pictures, and then one that was also by the big marquee sign, so people could actually do the inception photo of them on the giant big screen photo. We saw over 108,000 views in the 6 hours that they were available, and over 2,200 uses of the Snapchat filters.
Holy cow, that's awesome. That's great. All right, cool. So what about Krista? What are you guys doing?
So we in the past, and we kind of had this debate internally, I don't know about you guys, but our students take their phones with them to graduation. We don't encourage them to use them, but we get a ton of user-generated content from our students who are actually on the floor at Reed Arena. They've either just graduated or they're about to graduate. They take a selfie. They're with their friends. They send us their diploma. So we do a lot of interaction with them, and we kind of had this debate: do you want to distract them during the ceremony? Is that something that we want to do? And what we found when we were able to engage our students more, we got some great content, and that just kind of made them feel even like more that it was part of the experience, that A&M tweeted them, or that we, you know, reshared their photo on Instagram, or did something like that. So we really engage with our student graduates during their ceremony, which is kind of interesting. And this year, we're doing some kind of cool stuff with some time-lapse setups that we have. So we haven't really done that in the past, and we have an opportunity to get kind of high enough in our venue where we'll be able to do that. So we're excited about that kind of content. The challenge for us that we debate every year is how to keep things fresh, because we literally graduate all month long. So how do you not make that seem tired, especially to people who are following you? So we try to get a little creative when we can, and kind of think about each of those ceremonies and how to make them seem fresh when whether it's the one we're talking about that happened last night or the one that's on, you know, May 27th. So.
Yeah, and I think that's awesome, because I mean you're talking in line, I think, a lot of what Nikki was saying too, where it's like you're engaging with them while they're in there in the moment, and the same thing with what Ryan was saying. And there was, I think it was at the University of Virginia, Skylar, where there was I think it was up on a screen or something like that, where someone was taking a picture of themselves that was like their tweet. I don't know, Skylar, what was it?
We use Tagboard. We do the live display option, which we'll be doing again this year. So we have it kind of filled ahead of time, but it'll all be our tag, and anyone who uses it, and we'll be posting that stuff on the live displays up at the stage. Last year, what Amy was referencing was someone saw their tweet posted up on the live display, and they took a selfie with it, and then that ended up in the tag board also. So it was really great. People were excited to see their own faces and their own content on that live display.
So it's like Inception, social media. Awesome. So what avenues are you guys using? I mean, we've kind of addressed some of them, but it seems like a lot of stuff is happening on Snapchat. That's where it's at. It seems like there's a little bit happening on, you know, Facebook. Are you guys, you know, how are you letting people know, you know, how to engage with you? Are you guys also doing email communications to let them know, like, what to get excited about? Is there Instagram? We'll dive into Krista again.
Would you mind repeating that? I was tweeting.
Yeah, no, it's totally cool. So what communication avenues are you leveraging to engage with students during graduation? You talked a little bit about, like, everyone's kind of talked about Snapchat. That's the new hot thing. We've talked a little bit about Facebook. So what are you guys, like, what are all the different tools that you're using?
Yeah, so definitely Snapchat. For us, we see most of our current student traffic on Snapchat. They're all over Instagram. Twitter, a lot of our current students are on there, so we'll be doing a lot of tweets. Facebook, for us, is, and I'm sure for you guys as well, is more of an older audience, so our messaging changes a little bit. We celebrate with our current students there, but it's more about kind of our alumni, our former students, sort of embracing the fact that we're graduating more Aggies that they can hire, hopefully. So we sort of take an orchestrated approach across everything, but as far as things that we're doing live, that's going to be probably restricted to Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat.
Are you guys getting a lot of engagement on Twitter? I mean, is that something that's still, because it seems like all the students now are just really into Snapchat and are just kind of ignoring, you know. Yeah,
we have, we kind of see it sort of ebb and flow, but we have an incredibly engaged fan base on Twitter. We often say, I mean, kind of outside the graduation talk, but a lot of what we kind of do on Twitter is customer service, because a lot of times our students, if they have a complaint to air or a grievance about parking or something like that, they come to us on Twitter, and they know that we're gonna answer them. So we do have a lot of chatter that happens, especially around our TAMU grad hashtag. So the students know to engage with us there. But that kind of, like I said, kind of comes and goes, but we still see a lot.
Awesome. What about you, Nikki? What are you seeing at UMich? What kind of avenues are you using to engage with your audiences?
Yeah, so we use, of course, every single platform strategically. We've done things like UMich bucket lists on Pinterest boards to indicate to students beforehand, what are your different milestones that you need to do, whether it's take a walk in the fountain like you did at orientation. You always close out your ceremony doing that as well. Have you been on the Jumbotron? Have you spun our cube, which is a central art piece on campus? On Snapchat, obviously, we do a lot of behind the scenes. We also do different engagement elements. We try to get the keynote speaker to say a little something to the students. And then on Twitter, obviously, we live tweet the entire ceremony, the different keynotes that are happening, because our students are pretty well trained at this point, that they know MGoGrad is our commencement hashtag. All of the couple hundred accounts across campus, every school and college, we all use the same hashtag. We're all able to communicate with students in that venue. We use Facebook, obviously, as a record. We do some teaser content, but we also do the photo album at the end. We immediately truncate all of the videos from our key speakers into individual snippets, upload those to YouTube, and then share those on a variety of channels. This year we were able to partner with former Mayor Bloomberg's team to make sure that he was utilizing the MGoGrad hashtag when he spoke about commencement, and that he properly mentioned our account. So we saw over 6 million impressions on Twitter from just commencement alone. And other things that we do specialty video series for commencement. Last year we had our first graduating intern under my tenure here at UM Social, and so we worked with our video and graphic intern, and he created an anticipation hype video featuring her kind of walking into the big house, and had her cap on, and really captured the moment and all the feels that come with that. And so this year we had another intern graduating, and we did one with Alexandra Fotis, and it featured her going through all of the different steps. It showcased the feel of your first moments, hanging up that flag in your dorm room, and then all of the different key parts of campus that you visit, and then culminating, of course, with that big house experience. And so within the 24 hours that was released, we saw 4,000 views.
That's awesome. It's almost like you're advocating to be an intern in your office, because I wish I had that when I was going to college.
Yeah, I started something last year, and now I have 2 interns next year, and one of them's my video intern, so we keep teasing him, how are you going to film yourself? But we'll see what happens.
Just do a selfie the whole time. Awesome. Okay, so Ryan, what's going on at Princeton? What avenues are you guys using?
So we like to tell the story of commencement, across channels. Usually we try to diversify the content we put out. We like to look at the audience, how they use each platform. But we know our audience at commencement time, they're there to experience, to learn about commencement. So we've got all of our platforms covered. Something new we're going to try this year. We're going to do an experiment on Instagram with some long-form storytelling and audio. In the past, we've done Snapchat stories. We're also going to be doing some geo filters, and then tweeting is pretty popular around commencement. Yeah, we hear a lot about Snapchat, Instagram, but still live tweeting is something that the students are into. It really helps to get a copy of your president's speech beforehand, so you can pull out those inspirational quotes. They love tweets that have to do with numbers, like how many students are from whatever states, or how many other countries. Kind of those little factoids are what people find interesting. So we get those ahead of time and tweet them out, and people love sharing them with their Twitter followers. And then we're going to be trying something new this year that I will talk about if it's successful. I'll talk about it either way. But it's an experiment, and I hope it goes well. But I will, yeah, I'll talk about that soon.
Oh, it's a teaser for future.
Yeah.
I like that, so stay tuned. All right, Skylar, what avenues are you using at the University of Virginia?
So we're using all of our social channels. We use probably the most heavily Facebook and Twitter. Like Ryan said, we get the speeches ahead of time. Same with the awards also, so we have these like nice graphics made that we can push out via Twitter so that we don't have to worry about getting everything into 140 characters, which is really helpful. And those motivational quotes or the snippets of speeches are what get the most engagement on Twitter. We'll live tweet stuff in all of our, that's like our main channel for weather related things as well, which ends up being some of the most engaged content. We're also on Facebook, we'll use it for video. We have a video planned for the individual speakers. Rita Dove is one of our smaller speakers as well in an individual ceremony, so we'll have her, and we have Sarah Drew as our valediction speaker, and those individual videos will go up, but then on Sunday night or Monday, we'll have the highlight reel video, which is the most engaged and the most fun and makes people get really teary-eyed, but it's a really good one. And that's one of our biggest pieces of content that gets the most engagement routinely. We are, hopefully it all works out, going to be doing Facebook Live for our valediction speaker, since Facebook announced that you can do a pro AV feed into Facebook Live, and it doesn't just have to be with your iPhone or iPad. If that all works out, we're trying to work out the details now. If it does, we'll do Facebook Live for our valediction speaker, which will be really awesome, hopefully. But then Instagram, we've done in the past small campaigns there with like a frame that says UVA grad, or a whiteboard asking students to write down like one word that describes how they're feeling at that moment. This year we're kind of taking a step back from the heavily pushing things out on Instagram and focusing more on our other channels and adding Snapchat in this year as well, to do the live coverage there also.
Awesome. And I love that you mentioned the Facebook Live. Is anyone else doing that or did that? No. Okay, cool.
Well, fingers crossed it all works out. We have our normal live stream that we'll tweet out the link for and put it on Facebook also for anyone who's not in the area, but we're really hoping that Facebook Live actually works. We're trying to work out those details.
If worst comes to worst, we'll just get a watermelon, right?
Yes, very true.
And then, so Todd, what avenues are you guys using at the University of Florida? And I see that someone's been tweeting from UF about some of the different things that you've done. Can you highlight some of those? I think he's silent. I can't hear you. I don't know. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Todd, do you want to log out and log back in real quick, maybe? I can't hear you. We're going to do some miming. But I think that he's published some really cool things on Twitter that they're doing over at the University of Florida. They shot commencement videos before so people can give graduates opportunities to say thank you. They also have grad cap bingo to pass the time, which is a really interesting idea. I've never seen that before. Do you guys have any games or anything that you do at your institutions while they're sitting there during the commencement stuff?
Can you hear me now?
Yes. We'll have you dive into more of what the University of Florida is doing. I was mentioning your grad cap bingo. I don't know if you posted that or someone else, but that looked really cool. And then the videos that you guys have ready to go. So please dive into all of those really cool details.
Okay, we won't talk about that. We'll talk about the president's speech. We don't have a commencement speaker, but the president has a little opportunity to talk, and he's really cool, and he's super social. And this year he was talking about emotions of emojis and how that actually, emoji smile is a real smile and it's heartfelt and whatnot. But he wanted to use commencement as an opportunity to get some real-time engagement, which was super awesome. So he would mention that he wanted people to tweet out like how they're feeling just in emojis about graduation. And then he circled back to it like 5 minutes later in the speech, and we had to gather those and put them on the big board. So it was a fun time to do that. But I mean, he totally, as far as like we were talking about ones that were working and not working, Twitter definitely because of him, and what he does worked wonderfully.
Awesome. So what are all the avenues that you're using at the University of Florida? Because I know I've seen some on Facebook, and you talked about Snapchat quite a bit and Twitter. Are you using other areas?
Yeah, I mean, to tease it, we were making Vines. We tried to get to 1 million loops on Vine this past semester, so we've been using Vine an awful lot. Maybe not well, but an awful lot. And then, like how Nikki said, we use Facebook to throw up photo albums and archive everything, and people love to see that kind of stuff. But yeah, just every place, every touch point we have, except for Pinterest.
So you're not into Pinterest? Maybe you could have a board of how to decorate your mortarboard, right?
I think it's been done. Yeah.
Not unique at all. Awesome. Okay. So I've seen, and we've talked about this a little bit, but like, how do you guys let folks know what avenues you're going to be using, or do you even have to say, like, here's the avenues we're going to be using to engage with you during commencement or during graduation, here's the hashtags you should use, here's how to tweet back at us? Like, how are you pushing that out there, or is it just kind of in all the different areas and hoping it is absorbed? Todd, you want to dive in?
Sure. I mean, I'm sure at one time nobody knew what hashtag to use, but now they're using the hashtag before we even try to promote it. So and we have it on all the big boards. We have the hashtag on the marquees around campus. And as we tease out content, the month before, the hashtag's in there, but they're pretty well trained, so it's pretty much hands off.
How about you, Skylar? Are the Cavaliers trained? The Wahoos?
Yeah, they seem to be. We have asked all of the individual offices and anyone who runs a social media account at the university to start using the tag now when talking about anything from, like little reminders or just tips for the weekend or anything like that, so that it is being pushed out there regularly. And like I mentioned, the tag's actually in our Snapchat geofilter, so that people will be reminded there too. But we've just been using it as much as possible, but it's been used for, I think, 3 or 4 years now, so it's pretty widely recognized that that's the tag to use.
Awesome. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, all of our social media, or we point towards social media in all of our commencement communications promotion, so people are aware of that way, but also think it's important to be consistent. And that goes, that's related to the hashtag. So you think about the students who are graduating now. When they were freshmen, they saw the seniors at the time using hashtag Princeton13. So a few years later, they know, and they've seen it year after year, they know that it's Princeton16. So yeah, it's promoting, but also keeping it consistent, and that is how we hope that students know which hashtag to use and where to find us on social media.
That's good, and it builds up. It gets folks excited for, like you said, I'm a freshman. I saw this, that this is what was happening with the seniors, and hopefully gets them to graduate on time, so that way they can stick with their hashtag that they've identified.
Right.
Well, it's probably not a problem at Princeton, is it? I love. What did was it Christy or Krista that said? What was it, the marathon? The students that the extra year.
Oh yeah, the victory lap.
Victory lap. I love that.
Yeah.
So what are you guys using hashtags, or how do you make sure that is kind of built in so they know how to engage with you?
Yeah. So our graduation hashtag is TAMU-Grad, and kind of similar to Skylar, we have used that for probably the last 3 or 4 years. So our students know that that's what to expect. We also kind of have, similar to what Ryan, our students self-identify with their graduating class year. So what's been kind of interesting for us is we have watched younger and younger, as we have admitted students, they sort of mobilize themselves on social media before they even step foot on our campus, which is pretty cool. So our incoming freshmen, which you can search hashtag TAMU20. We've been talking to those kids for probably the last 2 or 3 years. So we kind of integrate both of those into what we do graduation-wise. But anytime we talk anything graduation, you're going to see TAMU-Grad, even if we're responding back to the students. And so they know to use that, and then they're also going to throw their class year in there too because they're excited about it. So we have a lot of fun with them.
Awesome. So we do have a question from Moonball on Twitter. Do you have hashtags in your programs or signs in like at graduation? Like how do you promote your social presences? So Nikki, would you mind answering Moonball's question?
Sure. Okay, I'm not on mute. I think it depends on what level of engagement you've already established surrounding the hashtag. When we admit new classes, we assign them a hashtag, Victor's 2020. It's on all the marketing materials. That's our incoming class. And so they're really, everything around there, they're very familiar with it. With graduation, because MGoGrad is used every single year, we don't have to put it in the commencement materials anymore in the program, but it's on the big boards. I was about to tweet a photo, right? Like Todd had just tweeted, it's on the marquees, it's running, it's in all of the language that they're being talked about or told to use anyways. The Alumni Association, we don't do bingo with our motor boards, but we do a contest for decoration. And so the most well-decorated or the most original decorated cap for some time now allows you to win VIP seats at graduation, right? The big house is sort of a large place. And so if you can get that really prominent seating for your family, that's a very big deal. And so lots of students will compete and they tweet those things in using hashtag MGoGrad. We put that, on every single account that they may encounter. I think for this person in particular, right, it's whether or not you need to train them or if you need in stadium, right, if you want that live engagement, if you want them to share videos, keep throwing it up there. We say it on the speakers. Be sure to share your photos, right, with hashtag MGoGrad. We actually saw this year a lot of people sign up for Twitter in stadium because so many parents also wanted to be on the big screens, and the parents and family not more than the students, because the students are just well trained already, but the parents were like, yay, we're here to celebrate, our daughter, and they were mentioning and they were tweeting things like, am I doing this right? And it was just absolutely adorable.
That's so cute. So grandma's like pumped she's in the big house to see that's so cool. So does anyone else publish your hashtags and things like that in a public space to make sure that folks are using it, or just kind of using the other avenues that we've talked about?
We just use the other avenues. The only in-person thing we have is that live display of the tag board that's up all weekend, and we are filling that with content beforehand to encourage people to use it.
Awesome. All right, cool. We do have a question also from Moonball that I thought was pretty interesting. So do you post multiple times on Instagram in a day during graduation? And that we find that this decreases engagement. So if you guys, I see Todd smiling, so I think he wants to maybe jump on that. But with Instagram, also with the new algorithms of how often it shows up, are you posting multiple times on Instagram? What's your plan? Or what did you do?
Yeah, we post, if it makes sense, we post multiple times. We have interns that come in, and the first thing that they tell us, they give us a little content audit, and they're like, hey, you post too much. You post more than once a day. That's crazy. But it works for us. We're actually thinking about running a contest for back to school where they have to post every hour to win something really cool, just to mess up their stream.
I love that you're always trying to break stuff. That's so great. That's awesome. What about you, Skylar?
We have in the past done the Instagram campaigns where it looks similar to a Facebook photo album. I'm kind of pushing against that this year just because it does flood the feed, and that's a channel that is not looked at in a live sense from being a young person and someone who uses Instagram constantly. It's not a live feed, so we focus more on Twitter and Facebook and Snapchat for live content. So we're planning to post at the very least evergreen content on Instagram, but that will mean still several posts throughout the day, but it won't just be several posts of grad caps and people holding pictures or being really excited. It'll be the speaker and what the place looks like and all the people and filling in the chairs and all that kind of stuff.
Awesome. What about you, Ryan?
I think if we post something to Instagram, which we will during commencement, it should mean something to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So instead of flooding people's feeds, just kind of find the picture that encompasses the experience of the day. and I think our followers appreciate that.
Awesome. What about you, Nikki?
So our Instagram approach is a little different during commencement. We try to stay in line with the one post a day for the most part, which is typically what we do. We ramp it up a little bit depending on, you know, what the content flavor of the day is. When we had to announce the motorboard decoration winner, right, that was a 2-post sort of day, because we'll do the Throwback Thursday. Here's graduation nearly 200 years ago. We're getting ready to prepare to celebrate our bicentennial next year. And then on other days we do really specialty photos. We released one this year that was one of our track student athletes, and it showed her crossing the diag in her track uniform. So it appeared she was passing a baton, but then in the latter part of the image, she was in her cap and gown actually reaching back to grab the diploma. And so really unique opportunities like that give us, you know, enough cause to post twice in a day. And then we do some video as well on day of into the Instagram platform. But for the most part, that is just curation of best content, the same way that an individual user would leverage the platform.
Awesome. And what about you, Krista?
Yeah, we will post multiple times a day on Instagram. For us, I mean, we keep kind of the algorithm in mind, obviously, but we're going to post when we have something good to say. So kind of in line with what Ryan was saying, if it's content that means a lot to a lot of people, it's meaningful and it's going to resonate with them, of course we're going to share it. For us in particular, some content that we will share a lot on Instagram is the fact that Texas A&M will commission 105 officers into the armed services. And we have a commissioning ceremony in one of our graduation ceremonies. And so that is something that we know really resonates with our fans. Texas A&M has a strong military background, military history, and that's something that we want to celebrate. So you'll see a lot of that. So we're going to make that a standout Instagram post and related to just kind of a general rah-rah graduation post as well. So, you know, we just kind of go by the rule that when we have good content to share, we share it.
That's awesome. And we got to support the troops in any way we can. Yeah. That's awesome. Great. So do you guys have any special surprises around graduation? I kind of want to leave Ryan for the very end because he gave us his teaser at the beginning. So let's start with Krista of what are your surprises around graduation? And then I think we need to end on like the biggest surprise ever that's happening at Princeton apparently. I want like confetti to come out, Ryan, see what you can do. I'm just kidding. So Krista, what kind of surprises and things do you have going?
So I'm not sure if it's any kind of surprise to anybody per se, but we're just trying to do some different things with user-generated content this year. So hopefully kind of using that in some unique ways, whether or not we take photos and create something out of them that we then share, or if we look at different ways of kind of embracing that content that we have before. We just get a ton of that, which I'm sure all of y'all do as well. But trying to think of some different ways, especially with such a large graduating class for us this year, how to take advantage of that.
Very cool. What about you at University of Michigan? My first time ever in the big house, Nikki, I saw a man, I'm not kidding, go from the field in a tux, and he jetpacked out of the stadium like James Bond, and it was the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. So you guys have got to have something amazing going on at U of M.
Right. So, you know, the Big House is the second largest stadium in the world, and it brings with it all of the fanfare necessary, right? This year, you know, commencement is really pretty toned down. It's on football Saturday, so it's all about celebrating the graduates. But our unique feature, as I discussed earlier, was really that social printer kind of element. We do a lot of small, like, lawn parties and things with the graduates, but they're here to have fun with their families, and so they go forth and do that. We capture them for a couple of hours in the Big House. We have great performances by our student music groups, fantastic speakers, whether it's our provost or the keynote or individual deans, really inspirational things, and then we let them go forth and celebrate with their families.
That's awesome. All right, and then Skylar, what are any exciting special surprises for the University of Virginia?
So I kind of mentioned this before, but we will have that Q&A with Sarah Drew, who's from Grey's Anatomy. She's our speaker. She's an alum. She's the most excited speaker I think we've ever had. So we're going to do, before she even gets to grounds, we're going to have that little video with her before she leaves, and we'll do more of the behind-the-scenes experience, and we have a special message from the president also that'll be on Snapchat, so we're going to incorporate that behind-the-scenes experience this time.
Awesome. And what do you guys have anything special going on at the University of Florida, Todd?
Just the president encouraging them to tweet. He always does a panorama from the platform of the class, and this time he encouraged them to take a photo of him taking a photo of them. So that went well, and using the emojis during his speech, so that was cool. But that was it. No TiVo.
That's a really cool idea, though. And with what Nikki was saying, I mean, have we ever thought about doing like tailgating before or after graduation? Maybe that's a horrible idea, but you know, having like a big party, because I mean, sometimes the alumni groups have parties before and after. I don't know.
In Wisconsin, they do that.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, Bloody Mary time.
I love it. Awesome. Okay, so you're our grand finale now, Ryan. I put so much pressure on you.
So much, too much. No, so we're gonna have a new way for students to tell their story, the story of their experience at Princeton over the past 4 years, all at once. And I think that's all I can say right now.
Oh, it's such a
because they don't know, and we haven't promoted it yet, and it's still in the works. Our thing's not until the end of the month, so we're still working on it.
So, but it's basically an opportunity to kind of highlight those experiences throughout their
whole career as a Princeton student. Yeah.
Wonderful, and there's going to be some tigers in it too, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I would like to thank you all for joining us today, and I think we've gotten some really, really good ideas and things that we can do. So I would like to also thank you to everyone who's joined us. Ryan, Skylar, Krista, Nikki, and Todd. Thank you so much. Awesome.
Thank you.
And then we did lose Amanda, which I'm sorry we lost you. She was having issues with her sound. But Amanda, you're fantastic. I'm sure Utah State is doing good stuff. Yeah, Todd understands. So thank you always to our program sponsor, mStoner, and make sure to check out for more shows on Higher Ed Pro from Higher Ed Pros on higheredlive.com. Thanks, and see you next time.